OmegaClaw is our attempt to look at how can we build a mind agentically using the power of the neural symbolic infrastructure that we've been building with SingularityNET through our generous partnership sponsorship with MiniMax. We were able to offer both the OmegaClaw track and the ASI Create track free LLM keys.
I'm very happy to see the collaboration. Our slogan is intelligence with everyone. So we hope that more people can collaborate with MiniMax and to future intelligence to everyone.
We're all on this BGI adventure. It's so exciting to see SingularityNET Compute, MiniMax, this BGI Sprint, SingularityNET, and all of our organizations coming together. Hello, greetings. Welcome, Singularitarians, BGI adventurers, ASI creators, and all of our community here today to watch this next episode of Tech Tuesdays. I'm so excited to be joined today by a partnership we recently made with SingularityNET Compute, MiniMax. Alina Shi here from MiniMax as an account executive. And we're here to provide a great update on the BGI Sprint itself, what the community built over this first session, and of course, talk more about how this sponsorship and partnership, what it means for ASI Compute and what it means for future sprints and for this sprint indeed. So thank you. Welcome, Alina. Let me take just a moment to share a bit about the BGI Sprint for those who didn't have an opportunity to participate. We launched this sprint, this BGI Sprint, at the beginning of June. We had a virtual event where we had a number of experts on agentic AI, spanning all the way back for 20, 30 years of the issues that agentic AI has been struggling with, and looking at how current agents, even though so much more powerful, powered by LLMs, frontier models, LLMs like MiniMax itself, are so much more capable, so much more powerful, better able to reason, think, plan, process, and act on the world, and yet still hold so many limitations that make them unreliable in many ways. Of course, our own technology, OmegaClaw, is relatively new. It's been out since February, March. We've been playing with it. And this is our attempt to look at how can we build a mind agentically using the power of LLMs and harnesses to help power the neural symbolic infrastructure that we've been building with SingularityNET, with Hyperon, with OpenCog, with ASI for so long now. So in June, we kicked off with these issues, the problems, the things that we're seeing that agents still need help with, looking at how AI agents can understand our individual and collective goals, how they can hold the thread over the time without collapsing individual perspectives, how they can be reliable, how they can have goal systems and memory systems that augment that reliability. And then throughout the month, we held a number of sessions to help the community dive deeper into these aspects. We held a session on the mind shift of building BGI. And this is both how we're building BGI, decentralized, open-ended intelligences that are self-modeling, self-recursive, and therefore we feel are on a trajectory to be able to encompass important components of humanity, empathy, compassion, true general intelligence, adaptive problem solving, that we feel that AI that doesn't have these core attributes built in from the start, they just won't be able to reach this level of compassion, empathy, joy, growth, and expansiveness that makes them a good partnership with the intelligence that humanity has, a reliable partner. So we dove into that mind shift, how we're building that, and how OmegaClaw embodies that, right? OmegaClaw itself is written in the meta programming language, which by its nature is self-recursive, self-modeling, and self-modifying. And it's built on this memory substrate that's a very simplified atom space type structure with a persistent memory over time. So the agent has continuity. It's not just you get through a context window and then you're starting with a fresh chat, a fresh prompt, and an agent who remembers nothing. With OmegaClaw, your agent is the same persistent agent from when it first spins up to 2, 3, 6 months, a year later, and it's growing along that trajectory, which we find to be a critical component of building true generalized intelligence. We had 2 opportunities for the community to spin up, demo both OmegaClaw in ASI Create, which launched its beta round during the sprint, and the Docker, which is a beta product as well that makes OmegaClaw easier to utilize, easier to spin up, and gives it a little bit more guardrails. These agents running as they do on non-deterministic LLM predictive inference, they can sometimes make decisions we weren't expecting. And when they're running straight on our hardware with access to our programs, it can be unexpected results. This Docker helps guardrail that. We had amazing turnout. We had about 200 people register for the BGI Sprint across the month. And these folks came both to this first virtual event, to the workshops and demos, and then finally, of course, to the final Sprint Hackathon, 3-day hackathon that we held last weekend. It was an incredible crew of people that came and that returned and asked great questions, really dove in, got a feel for the technologies, what we're building, and how they could contribute. We had 29 teams form in our newly formed hackathon portal that we built with deep funding. And then we had 19 deliverables delivered for judgment at the end, real world manifestations of all this discussion, all these demos, all this talk that we had been doing about how to make OmegaClaw better and what OmegaClaw is. And here the community put out these great projects that just spanned the range of opportunities and showed how flexible OmegaClaw is. Also showed it's very rough around the edges, which we knew. This is why we're inviting community in here right now to help us make the OmegaClaw more robust, show the use cases, build the tooling, and all the pieces around the edges that will make it easier and easier for the next generation of OmegaClaw builders to get in and start building. So we had a great community of participants. We had a great community of supporters. A number of our ambassadors and former deep participants came to be mentors, help people to spin up or troubleshoot their OmegaClaw Dockers or the ASI Create platform and understand what that was for, as well as support from across the organization, from the AGI research teams. Ben, of course, kicked us off at the beginning of the month, kicked us off at the beginning of the sprint weekend, and wrapped us up for the weekend as well. He's got such a passion for getting the community in here, building with these tools and utilizing these tools and helping 1,000 ideas on how AGI can flourish in the world, which this OmegaClaw is uniquely suited, I think, to do at this moment. We had 3 winners. We had 3 tracks and 1 top project from each track. So we had a first track, which was, just improving OmegaClaw. What kind of improvements can the community contribute and make to OmegaClaw itself? Our top project there was from Larry Greenblatt, and his was called Threadkeeper, and it enabled OmegaClaw to understand how to direct calls amongst different types of LLMs, local models, frontier models, however you want to divide it up, help offset some of the token usage. These claws are quite token hungry, and since ours is a continuous loop agent, it's especially so, as well as understand how to maintain the thread across and have an auditable record too of what decisions were made and what inference was made and what a given LLM completed or did while you were using that LLM. Our second track was the ASI Create track. Again, we launched the ASI Create beta during this BGI Sprint, which was very exciting to see. The beta had OmegaClaw integrated, and through our generous sponsorship with MiniMax, we were able to offer both the OmegaClaw track and the ASI Create track free LLM keys to create on MiniMax M3, which is an incredible model. It's such a beautiful open source product that I'm really looking forward to diving into with Alina here in a few moments. But it runs our OmegaClaw really beautifully, really efficiently, and it's also multimodal. Again, we'll dive into this in just a moment. That gives it a great additional utility for ASI Create and for OmegaClaw itself. And the ASI Create track, we had a range of projects working with the OmegaClaw built into ASI Create, running on that beautiful M3 MiniMax model. And the winning project was from Godfred, and it was a red team prompt so that you could go in, you could have the LLM look at your project from a Red Hat team perspective and understand how does the LLM, how does the agent actually begin to complete that goal? And is it the way you want, or are you getting a paperclip maximizer? If you ask it to save a lot of disk space on your computer, is it going to wipe your hard drive, which is not the idea? Or is it going to find the files that you don't use and are, things that you can get rid of and be responsible, right? So having this prompt in there where the LLM can evaluate your prompt, your goals, and really make sure that what comes out of the agent, again, holding the thread and understanding our individual and collective goals, is being productive and helpful and assistive to what the user wants. And then our third track, we had a track that was about helping OmegaClaw become easier for the next generation of users. Tutorials, demos, walkthroughs, all of the educational material that we're just beginning to try and spin up for the community. We need the community's help to build too, to get the word out there so people can understand why this tool is so interesting, so different, so unique, and how they can use it best. And our winner on that track was Sin Jahan and Deval Kirtri, I believe. I apologize, Deval, if I got your last name incorrect. But they built out a sort of a proof of concept of the Ucha matchmaking offer nets bot, the claw there. So within the sprint, we had a channel in Discord, which is where we held all the community communications. And we had a channel that was LFG, looking for a group, right? We're all on this BGI adventure together. We want to build these great projects. We want to see what OmegaClaw can do. But sometimes we need help from others, or we have a great project where others could contribute. And how do we make those matches in the community? So somebody with a great idea can meet somebody who's got great front end or back end development experience, or, all these interesting ways of coming together. So we were manually making these matches. We'd see somebody who posted a project they had and what needs they were looking for it. And we'd see somebody else in the channel who was a match for that. And we'd suggest to them, look, you two could work together. But this bot helps to automate that. And it's helping to keep the thread over time. So if somebody posted 3 weeks ago that they've got great front end, back end development skills, and they really want to contribute to sustainable AGI, and then somebody posts a project for an AI system that's helping monitor, planting in a park or a reforestation project, the agent can hold in its memory that there was somebody out there looking to contribute to sustainable AI, and ping them, get back to them, say, hey, look, there's a project here that might be a perfect fit. You might be a great teammate and able to contribute here. And so this bot was able to look at our looking for group channel where we'd had people posting and been making manual matches. And it was able to read through, and when a new post was made, make a match on its Telegram implementation. So across channels, across time, this agent was able to hold that thread and bring teams together. So 3 great projects, 3 amazing showcases of what OmegaClaw can be and do. We had a lot of contributions towards our NexiClaw, our ethics bot, which were also fascinating. And I'm hoping that we can pull these teams together to help instantiate and build that as a cohort in our working groups. We had projects that were just about helping OmegaClaw run locally, which is an important aspect if you want to make it maximally flexible. Let your OmegaClaw run on a local model, even on a laptop or on your own machine, and so that the entire agent is contained and is there just servicing you instead of relying on any cloud if you want to run it that way. Which is hard. These agents are very dependent on the power of the LLM, and local models tend to be very small. So the success in that project is exciting to see, and I hope we take that forward as well. And so many more that I can't begin to enumerate in one episode of Tech Tuesday, but we'll put out a celebration of that in a blog post with the highlights on some of these great projects, because they were incredible. They were inspiring and exciting, and they're just show what's to come for this agent, this technology, these platforms, OmegaClaw and ASI create as well. And just, again, the turnout was amazing. I thank everybody who participated, everybody who attended, everybody who applauded. Everybody was a massive contributor, and we've got more coming soon. So keep your eyes on your email. As we wind up for the AGI conference, there will be some sprint type activity related to that coming as well. So finally, Alina, thank you so much for your patience and waiting here while I go through this update. And I'd love to dive into this MiniMax and our partnership. So maybe first you can start off for anyone meeting MiniMax for the first time. Who are you? What are you building?
Yeah. I would say I would have very pleasure that I can be invited to do the stream, and I'm very happy to see the collaboration between MiniMax and Singularity. And quick intro, I just feel so happy that everyone can use MiniMax large language model here. MiniMax is a frontier AI company, and we publicly listed in Hong Kong. And we build full stack foundation models across text, voice, music, and video. Like we have large language model, but it's not the only modality that we have. So multimodality isn't a feature that we added later. It's how we thought about intelligence from day one. And on the product side, our model already power hundreds of millions of users worldwide, and 70% of revenue are from overseas, like both through our own consumers products and through our open platform APIs through developers and enterprises. So it means that we understand 2B and 2C side both. We open source many of flagship models because we generally believe that powerful AI should be accessible, not gated. And underneath of that, all of that, and the company is really built around one bet that the most useful AI of the next decade will be multimodal, long context, and agentic. And models can see, can act, and all in one coherent loop, and everyone will should be pointing at that vision. So if you're meeting us for the first time, that's us in one paragraph. It's a multi-model foundation, and it's quite global, and it's very gender bias. I would say MiniMax is almost the most gender biased AI lab in the world, and it's very global user base, and it's open ecosystem. So in the end, I will end with our slogan is intelligence with everyone. So we hope that more people can collaborate with MiniMax and to build your intelligence to everyone.
Thank you so much, Alina. Yes, our missions are so aligned. It's a natural partnership for us. You know, this commitment to AI should be accessible to everyone all around the world. Intelligence has to have these multimodal components. It has to be able to see, to hear, to generate images. These all come together to be different forms of creativity and creation that humans want to do, and that AI can be so assistive in helping with. And to give MiniMax to an OmegaClaw and let that agent run that LLM under its harness and have all those capabilities so that a user really has all this functionality right at their fingertips is so important. And I'm incredibly grateful that you gave us this opportunity. Can you talk a little bit about what drew MiniMax to this collaboration and partnership?
Yes, of course. And this is quite simple. And we want to as many builders as possible to actually get their heads on MiniMax model and see what they can do. The Sprint is the perfect environment for that. Like we have serious builders, we focus time, and we rule shaping. So if our model can help the community move faster, then we are in.
Yes. Absolutely. And so many people got an opportunity to use MiniMax, both in ASI Create and just in OmegaClaw. We've been very excited to run it on our testing teams internally as we're building out OmegaClaw and making sure that it's robust across models. Our own teams have been very celebratory of how well it works. And then having a model that's lightweight enough that, you know, we can run it on our ASI compute and use it that way has just opened up a whole opportunity for our research to build on there. You know, it's really been a big emerging opportunity within the organization. Can you tell us technically a little bit more about M3 and what it's especially good at?
Yes, of course. And M3 is a new latest large language model that we released like several weeks ago. And like before that, we have M1 like 1 year ago. Now we achieve a big progression. We have M3 within a year. So M3 is latest generation foundation model, and the headline feature is context window. M3 handles to 1 million tokens of context, and the non-specific number is it fundamentally change what you build. A million token means that an M3 can read million context in just one chat. It means that equivalent to a 30,000 words book. A whole book, we will give it to MiniMax. It will remember everything, and it will never spark its attention, and it will never forget something. Yeah, this is the thing that what we did for MiniMax. Besides, it also has long horizon reasoning, and we have deep documented code understanding and agentic workflows that actually accumulated. Before that, many people think that large language model is just like your intern. You ask the intern to do something, but now it's just like your coworker. It's a new engineer, and it will understand and learn something by itself. So that's a good thing for MiniMax M3. And compared to other large language model, I would say MiniMax should be the most cost-saving one. So I'm happy. You're welcome to use MiniMax M3 to build a fantastic agent.
Absolutely. And it really did too. The increase in power between the 2.5, which we were using before, and the 3 is just mind-blowing. The first demo that we ran with the community, we ran it on MiniMax 2.5. It runs the harness, but it doesn't have all of the power to access the tooling as fluently. It needs a little bit more of a knowledge base to help get it started. But M3, you spin it up out of the box and it's so capable. It gives you such a great experience, and it really makes building with OmegaClaw easier and more productive. One of the amazing things about OmegaClaw is how you can build on it with it. And MiniMax makes this easy because you're able to query the agent about its own loop and how it runs and how to write meta and how to improve it. And M3 is able to help the agent really understand itself and be able to offer valuable suggestions on its own self-improvement, which is incredible. So with all that said, what are we looking forward to next? What are the development directions for MiniMax in future?
Well, I would say it's a very good question. And for the future, I hope everyone can use more modalities in MiniMax, because building an agent is not only for large language model. It will be better if it can understand the voice and music and video and have image and everything together. Then it can make it more colorful. So the next thing I really to see is that builders piling more modalities into their agents. A lot of Sprint projects, like brilliant as they were, and they were mostly text-driven, but MiniMax strength is that we don't just have this strong large language model, we still have something else. So imagine that an agent can narrate it with a natural voice. It can read the report, can plan a video, actually generate it, can read image, and it can generate the image by itself, can listen to the meeting, can do the translation, do everything like a real person. You can ask the agent to do the AI companion. You can ask the agent to do some text for you, just like your personal secretary. So in the future, I hope that a multimodal plus your brilliant thoughts will be a very good combination. So I hope that use more modalities to build a more powerful item.
Thank you so much. Yeah, no, this is true. It was very text-based in this sprint, and getting the agent to be able to harness these multimodalities and really utilize them for the benefit of any type of work, any type of generation, any type of creativity that somebody wants to do is so exciting. It's so important. I look forward to having special tracks and opportunities for the community just to explore that and to build out that capability with OmegaClaw. So I want to dive in just for a second. This partnership came about through SingularityNET Compute and MiniMax. And SingularityNET Compute, we were hoping they could join today. They weren't able to, but they wanted to share their excitement for this partnership as well. Their commitment to building the Singularity with ASI, SingularityNET, MiniMax, and other partners is a critical component of our own infrastructure. Just like ASI Create and just like all of the Fetch Agentverse and all of these tools within the ASI ecosystem, it's critical that we have both an infrastructure layer as well as this software and agentic layer to build this decentralized BGI on top of. Hyperon has always run with the premise on the foundations, on the principles and pillars, that you need to have all of the components working together from the ground up to get the most powerful intelligence. This has included the distributed atom space so that the future AGIs have this neural symbolic space to hold its own programs, to hold its knowledge, to hold relations, to do pattern matching, to do queries, to do reasoning, to do the type of auditable, transparent, understandable querying that takes the agents, that takes AGI to being something we can really trust and rely on in the future. Along with that, having decentralized compute that this atom space can run on and that queries and calls can run on is so important. The SingularityNET compute as this infrastructure layer that enables the world to build decentralized AGI, that enables access to great models like MiniMax M3, that enables inference that is outside of big tech. This is such an important contribution to how both our companies, all of our companies, are making access to AI more widespread, more open, more available, more affordable. And it's so exciting to see SingularityNET Compute, MiniMax, this BGI Sprint, SingularityNET, and all of our organizations coming together towards that end. It's been a long-held vision that we've had in the ecosystem with our new net technology, Twin protocol for distributing or owning your own data. All these pieces, they're now coming together. It's the moment for all of this to come together into the coherent whole that we've been seeing for years and building towards. And now all the technologies are coming ripe together. So I just wanted to take a moment to appreciate how all of these pieces add up to one globally critical goal of beneficial AGI for everyone. So I'd love to touch in again one more time. What are you most excited about as MiniMax and the BGI and ASI community keep creating together?
Yes, honestly, and just watching what we get built next. Every cohort raises the ceiling, and we will shape in their better models, and the community will find new uses we never imagined, and that loop is the best part of its whole industry. And besides, if you have a good agent, we not only have a model layer, we also have a GPU layer. So I think with our collaboration, it will be even more smooth to comply with the GPU and the model and the harness so that we can make the best product.
I think that pretty much exactly sums it up. Thank you so much, Alina. Yes, having all of that integrated, having all of that together, being able to build multimodally so that we're spanning the gamut, not just of conversation, but of all of the ways that thought emerges for humanity. And we want to express that creativity, touch one another, work together. It's so important to have this whole ecosystem, this whole creative sphere working together. So thank you so much for joining today. I just want to say for a moment, we do have the AGI 26 conference coming up. San Francisco, July 27th through 30th. This is the longest running 19 years of AGI conferences held by the AGI Society. This is an important milestone. We've been looking at AGI within the AGI Society for longer than most of these companies have existed. We've always been looking towards how do we integrate all of the various pieces that need to come together for a true adaptive problem solver, for true machine intelligence that can generalize beyond its training data and interact in the space of thought with us. How do we incorporate temporal reasoning over time? How do we integrate episodic memory so that not only can an agent like OmegaClaw remember by timestamp, when something was said and search over its memory that way, but it can also remember like we do. I remember my 5th birthday, not by timestamp, but by a mix of activities and feelings and maybe gifts and people that happened at that time. I remember that episode as a whole, and it has a feeling for me, right? So bringing this forward so that agents can have these forms of creativity, of reasoning, of seeing the world that really mirror and work well with our own types of thinking and problem solving. How can systems look to some of the new paradigms of active inference? What are the new systems that we can utilize for knowledge bases or RAG type systems? And then, of course, we also have a workshop again this year, the second time in a row for AGI 26. As last year, a consciousness track. What does it mean for machines to be conscious or to even ask that question? So looking at the gamut between the hard math of building computer programs that have generality at their heart, and what does it mean to have a thinking machine, and everywhere in between. We're also super excited to have a general audience day again this year. So the last day of the conference on the 30th, we'll have a number of keynote speakers that are going to speak to the gamut of ways that AGI will impact our world. How will AGI change our economy? We're already starting to see that. How will it change the nature of work? Again, we're already starting to see these impacts, and it's very variable. A couple of years ago, many companies were laying off in favor of AI. Now we're seeing a lot of quiet rehires because of some of the aspects of AI that don't make it as good at certain jobs as we thought, or you need people that can oversee them better, and then when we get to AGI, it's going to be a whole nother game change as well. How will AGI affect longevity and medicine? Again, already is. How will it affect robotics? As well as we'll have a workshop day on the first day, the 27th, where there'll be a lot of opportunities to get involved, again, consciousness, with active inference, with natural language processing, with agents. Agentic AI will have a space there for OmegaClaw and getting started with that as an AGI researcher, or just as a person who wants to experiment with AGI research within an OmegaClaw system. So please join us there. We will have a special ticket price for those who just want to attend the last day. If you can be in San Francisco, it will be absolutely incredible. If you can't be in San Francisco, join us virtually. The whole thing will be live streamed, of course, just like it's important for us and MiniMax that AI is accessible to everyone, that AGI is built so that it will be accessible to everyone. Having everybody be able to watch and participate in the latest AGI research is just as important, because the next idea springs from somebody who sees that and is inspired and begins to experiment themselves. Again, we'll have some exciting sprint activities coming up around the AGI conference itself. So there will be opportunities to get involved. And we look forward to bringing forward and continuing this great partnership with MiniMax. Thank you, Alina, for being here today, for sharing this vision of the future with us, and for sharing this vision of the future with the community here in this space today.
And thanks to all, thanks Hadley to give me massive opportunity to use the AGI platform. So I hope in the future we can have a deeper collaboration with SingularityNET like this. I hope that more people can use MiniMax to build their very good agent. Thanks for the session. Thank you so much.
And I think we'll wrap up on that beautiful note. We had such an amazing BGI Sprint. Again, keep an eye on the blogs. We'll be posting some of the highlights of the various projects that were built. We'll be talking about how you can get involved with our next sprint. And of course, lots of information forthcoming about how you can use MiniMax M3 via ASI Compute or via M3 themselves. They run the agentic harness beautifully. Highly recommend it. It was so much fun to get to work with the community on this model and in these products this weekend. We're so grateful to MiniMax for being involved in this, in sponsoring this sprint with us. It's been amazing. Thank you, everyone, and we'll see you next time.